Media Bites. This is Random Rob. In 1983, I remember reading an issue of the Dragon magazine, which was a treasure trove of all things related to Dungeons and Dragons, which I was obsessed with. I came across a book review for Tea with the Black Dragon by the fantasy writer R.A. McAvoy. The book was described as quirky and offbeat, and sounded like a lot of fun to read. It turned out to be my favorite book of that year, and won McAvoy the John W. Campbell Award for Best New Writer. She's written several fantasy series since then, and recently The Book of Kells was adapted as a beautiful hand-drawn animated film. If you haven't seen it, it's very unique in its artistic execution, and worth a look to any fan of animation or Celtic fantasy. Tea with the Black Dragon is set in the heyday of the early 80s Silicon Valley boom, and is about a woman named Martha McNamara who travels to San Francisco to meet with her daughter Elizabeth, who has gotten involved with some criminal elements in a fledgling high-tech industry. Elizabeth is kidnapped, and Martha is aided in finding her by a mysterious Asian gentleman she meets at her hotel, Mr. Mayland Long. Long believes himself to be, and may or may not be, a reincarnated black dragon of Chinese myth. The book is a charming romantic thriller, and filled with a nostalgia for the Bay Area of San Francisco, and also of the technical buzz of Silicon Valley. The mixing of fantasy and high-tech, of the grandeur of those two very different locales, I think would make a terrific film. In addition, recapturing the feeling of that time when electronics was an unrestrained wild frontier would be a variety of retro nostalgia that Hollywood hasn't yet tapped, and it's been a while since I've seen a film that really gave San Francisco some love. This is the kind of film I think Steven Spielberg or Peter Jackson could easily get behind as producer or director, perhaps even Guillermo del Toro or Sam Mendes. All of these directors have good experience with incorporating and balancing contemporary subjects with magical realism. I would suggest James Mangold, too, for the lyrically understated performances he captures in his films. For the role of Martha McNamara, I've always imagined Frances Conroy. Her portrayal of Ruth Fisher on 6 Feet Under is one of my favorite characters of the early 2000s. She has a gentle sturdiness, a mix of vulnerable reserve and childlike bearing that would bring the character to life. For Mayland Long, I always imagine Chow Yun-fat. He'd be well cast in the role of a mystery man, and I think it would be a lot of fun to see him play a more romantic, whimsical type of character. In the book, you never really know if Long is the Black Dragon or not, but you really want him to be, and Fat, I think, would shine in this part. For the score, I would recommend the Japanese composer Yoko Kanno. Kanno has been wildly prolific in the anime soundtrack scene for the past 20 years. Her body of work is simply staggering. If you've never heard her, I would recommend as a starting point searching YouTube for the Cowboy Bebop or Ghost in the Shell standalone complex soundtracks. It's great, varied material. She writes in any genre capably and has a warm, evocative style. In my opinion, she is to anime what Thomas Newman is to American film, a Scheherazade of scoring. Easily one of my favorite modern composers, and it would be a treat to hear her finally do a big American film, and she certainly deserves the career highlight. Yo-Yo Ma would be a terrific addition to the score as well. So that's a start, ladies and gentlemen, towards getting this film greenlit. If you want a screenplay treatment, give me a call, but in either case, let's try to make this movie happen. That's all for this time. If you enjoyed what you heard and would like to hear more, please like this video and add this channel to your YouTube subscriptions. Feel free to leave any questions or comments in the field provided, and we'll see you next time.